A practical water route to the Pacific for commerce was Jefferson's dream. The President wrote Captain Lewis a letter outlining the goals of the expedition. It would be a covert military operation into Spanish-held territory, potentially enemy territory. Jefferson's curiosity about the unknown, about the West, and the land beyond the setting sun would launch a small flotilla on the Ohio River. But this was no naval squadron. This was U.S. Army, all the way. Jefferson and others had heard reports of mountains, but just where were they, and how high were they? Nothing in their experience could have prepared them for the challenges that Lewis and Clark would encounter.
Did mammoths and mastodons still roam the West? What about the Welsh Indians, the lost tribe of Israel, mountains of salt? Jefferson was a scientist, and he and his friends wanted to know whether such things really existed.
This group of patriots came together with a mix of frontiersmen that were ready to drink and fight at the drop of a hat, yet had to be molded into a disciplined military corps. Captain Lewis and Captain Clark, both being astute judge of character, saw the potential in the men that they handpicked for the Corps of Discovery, but it was not smooth sailing at Camp Dubois.
Winter still embraced the camp, but the ice floes on the Mississippi River were breaking up. By the time the cold, damp winter at Camp Dubois came to a close, the Corps for Northwestern Discovery was transformed into a cohesive military unit.
Meriwether Lewis and William Clark traveled to this part of the country for Thomas Jefferson. They were the men responsible for carrying out his vision, so in a sense they too were ambassadors.
For the captains, the winter was partially spent writing journal entries with detailed descriptions of the plants and animals that they had discovered. After interviewing Indians and cross-checking their stories, Captain Clark felt confident in adding more details to the map that he would send back to Jefferson. Finally, winter's tenacious hold was easing. Though they would be leaving the fort behind, the brilliant night sky would still be their companion, including spectacular displays of northern lights. Captain Meriwether Lewis was a keen observer of the world around him. In preparation for the trip, he studied with botanists and biologists. He learned how to assign Latin names to species new to science. He noticed that some birds, though similar to their eastern counterparts, were actually different subspecies. Overhead, hawks and eagles ruled the skies. For the explorers and the animals, it was a Garden of Eden.